You're going to get a chance to learn about the power to a power rule, and I'm hoping this little visual will help you remember what this is. So the first thing to ask yourself when you're dealing with exponents is, what does it mean? When in doubt, write it out. Seriously, this is very, very important because there are so many different exponential rules, and if you try to actually blindly memorize them all, you're just going to get confused and lost, and that's going to be hard to do. If you can get yourself a deep understanding, that's going to allow you to actually remember what's going on. So this problem, n squared to the third, if you write, oh, okay, I know this means that I'm going to take n squared and multiply by itself 3 times, this is going to give you a little bit better understanding of what's going on here. And since n squared means n times n, each of these times, you may notice that n squared to the third happens to be n multiplied by itself 6 times, and therefore n to the 6th power. Probably when you were looking through other patterns, you noticed something here about the exponents. So here's the official rule. The power to a power rule says this. If you're taking a power to a power, you multiply the exponents together and keep the base unchanged. So you multiply the exponents together, you keep the base unchanged. This means x to the power of a, that all to the power of b equals x to the power of a times b. This is the power to a power rule. So let's look at a couple examples. The first one is this, 5 to the 4th all to the 8th power. Based on our rule, we could just figure out that this must be 5 to the 4 times 8, or 5 to the 32nd power. And this is probably one I wouldn't want to write out because I wouldn't be interested in writing 32 5s. So I'd probably start with a smaller example and see, oh yeah, I remember I'm multiplying those exponents. Okay, B, I put this caution symbol here because this is an error that people make a lot and something you really want to watch out for. So this time I have 5x cubed all squared, and it's pretty common for people to write 10x to the 6th here, but I want you to think about what actually happens here. This means 5x cubed times 5x cubed. And remember that when we're dealing with multiplication here, these are all multiplying. I could put extra dots in there if that helps me to organize. And since multiplication is commutative, I can reorder this in any way that I want. So I could have 5 times 5 times x cubed times x cubed. So really what's happening here, 5 times 5 is 25, and x cubed times x cubed is x to the 6th. So this actually simplifies to 25x to the 6th. Now I want you to notice something here. We did multiply these exponents 3 and 2, and what you might not notice is 5 has an invisible exponent, which is 1. So in reality, the 1 and the 2 also get multiplied together, and you have 5 squared, which is where we're getting that 25. Okay, let's look at one last problem, or actually two problems that I want you to try on your own. So you try at these two, and pause the video, work them out, and then come back and see if you got them right. Okay, so the first one is this, n to the negative 2, all to the power of 9. You're going to go ahead and take these exponents and multiply them. So we should have n to the negative 18. The only problem is we don't usually like to leave a negative exponent in our answer. So recall from a couple sections ago, this means 1 over n to the 18th power, and this would be the proper form that we'd like you to leave it in. Okay. Oops. Second one here, it's definitely harder, so I'm curious to see if you got it right. So maybe you did it in a couple different ways. You might have actually written it out. This means 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th times 2x to the 4th. And then you notice 2 times 2 times 2, well that gave you 8, and x to the 4th times x to the 4th times x to the 4th, that's x to the 12th. So maybe you did it that way, or maybe you put a little 1 here, and then dealt with the multiplying the exponents thing, and did 2 to the 3rd power, then 4 times 3 here, x to the 12th, and then hopefully you simplified that out to get 8x to the 12th. But either way, you should have gotten 8x to the 12th.